recognize Mr. Olszewski from the great state of Maryland for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you, Ranking Member Velasquez, and you, Mr. Stallings. I appreciate your time and testimony today. On March 26, 2024, the Key Bridge in Baltimore collapsed after being struck by a cargo ship around 1:30 in the morning. There were roughly 2 minutes between the Mayday call to authorities and the bridge's total collapse. We lost 6 construction workers that day, all of whom were described as humble, hardworking men, all of whom left behind spouses and children. At the time of the collapse, I was Baltimore County executive, and with community partners and government leaders, we united quickly to deliver help and healing in this incredible time of need. One of those partners was former President Biden, who addressed the nation within hours of the tragedy. As the emergency response was rapidly unfolding, President Biden announced that he had directed his team to move heaven and earth to reopen the Port of Baltimore and rebuild the bridge as quickly as possible. He informed Congress of this intention for the federal government to cover the full cost of reconstruction. Just days later, we welcomed SBA Administrator Guzman for a roundtable with Baltimore small businesses. There was never a moment that Marylanders felt left behind by the president or the administration. Unfortunately, we've had a different experience in Maryland under this administration, who has not only directly threatened to cancel funding for the Key Bridge, funding that is law, but has also abandoned our state in the wake of other disasters. In May of this year, Allegheny and Garrett counties in Maryland suffered catastrophic flooding. 200 elementary school students and teachers were evacuated from their classrooms by boat, with water levels reaching the heights of over 12 feet. Despite easily clearing the federal threshold for assistance, FEMA rejected Maryland's $15.8 million disaster relief request without any detailed justification. With support of the congressional delegation from Maryland and Governor Moore, we sought an appeal to that decision, which was again recently denied. In the wake of all that, FEMA's denials have hurt working Marylanders and have weakened their trust in government. I do, however, want to thank you, Mr. Stallings, you and your partners at the SBA for being present and offering small business loans and nonprofits economic injury disaster loans. These loans can help provide support for businesses and the need for working capital caused by disaster, even if many of the small businesses did not suffer any physical damage. So I do want to thank and acknowledge you, but I want to say that that is in sharp contrast to our experience with FEMA, and sadly, not a word from President Trump, who the hardworking people of Allegheny County supported for the White House by a margin of 40 points. One resident told the New York Times they thought President Trump would, quote, take care of the little person. So I'm just worried that the statements by inaction in other agencies, I know you're not responsible for FEMA, but I worry about the connection between FEMA and small business and the message it's sending to American and Maryland communities that we cannot rely consistently on federal support when disaster strikes. In moments of our greatest need, I worry that Marylanders are being punished for living in a Democratic-led state. I hope that's not the case, but the actions are concerning. 2 questions for you today. First, Mr. Stallings, is the Congressional Research Service has concluded that cutting FEMA aid will grow the demand for disaster loans, since SBA will need to step into that gap and address unmet needs. What level of concern do you have about the added strain on the disaster loan program and the impact that could have on your program's budget?
I would say SBA is well positioned to handle any additional assignments that the President chooses he wants SBA to handle. Administrator Loeffler has given us resources and capabilities. We have great surge hiring potential. We have a great reserve pool of individuals that we regularly inquire about their readiness and their state of ready. We are doing a lot of training. We're developing our team. We're expending resource allocations on new technologies and ways to get out into more rural parts of our country, as well as work in those urban environments. So I think SBA is well positioned, and we're very proud of the program we operate.
I hope that's the case, and let us know if you ever feel that won't be. And then I also know that in the case of Western Maryland, a lot of folks ended up having to go through Tri-County Council and credit unions that were offering 0% options. I wanted to just ask about interest rates quickly, if I can. The interest rates on SBA disaster loans, as I understand it, is based on an SBA determination on whether or not the applicant can access credit elsewhere. Can you explain the process the SBA uses to make that determination for each borrower briefly?
So we have a kind of a set standard. It's credit profile, credit worthiness. Our program is designed for those who really can't find help themselves. but also remind everybody that we also have to take care of the banks, the local banks and community banks. So we can't undermine them by coming in and giving everybody a rate that maybe that would undermine their business. I often say everybody loves free water except the person that sells water for a living. We have to take care of all parts of the community as we respond.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And again, I appreciate your presence in Maryland. I hope that the rest of the administration follows your lead, and that we get back to serving and meeting the needs of all that. With that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.